All right, so this here is our last card. And just like the last couple samples, I am going to change the colors up a little bit just so that you can see the same design, just in a different color. So the very first step is we need to take a piece of acetate and we need to stamp our image on there. I am stamping it with StazOn ink. It's a perfect ink to stamp on a non-porous surface and will dry perfectly. It does take a little bit to dry though, so you definitely need to make sure that you stamp it and then leave it for, I mean, it might even be 10 minutes. I don't know. I haven't timed it. I typically stamp mine and then leave the room for a while and go do some other things. So there we go. Our image is stamped. The reason we need to let it dry completely is because we're going to be working on the back side of it. And if this is a little bit wet, when we go and put this down on our paper, it is going to start smudging. So I happen to have one here that is already dry. The other thing is the plastic that you use, the acetate that you use, you want to make sure that it's stiff, that it can hold its weight. You don't want something too floppy because we're going to be starting to glue glitter on here, and you want to make sure that it can hold up to the glitter. The other thing that I'm going to do is I know that I want to put this image inside a window on the front of my card. So what I did was I took the die that I'm going to be using and I traced it on my paper here so that I can use that as a guide to make sure that I'm putting enough glitter around the edges and making sure that that will fill the entire hole. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue in all the places that I want to be white. And the glitter that I'm actually using for this is, it's like a transparent opalescent glitter. So once we have this all filled in and have the glitter on it, we need to let it dry completely before we start going to the next color. Because if we don't let it dry completely, some of the other glitters will stick to the glue that's still wet, and you'll be able to see it through there. So this right here, where you can see some bits of red, that's what I did there. I hadn't waited quite long enough for my glue to dry and my glitter to dry. So you want to make sure that it's completely dry before you start working on the other colors. And I don't need a really thick layer of glue here. I am just making sure that the surface is completely covered. Oh, before I forget, this is what I'm using here. It's art glitter glue. It dries completely clear. It is water-based, non-toxic, acid-free. This is a technique that I learned, I want to say about 25 years ago. And it's one of those techniques that it takes a little bit of time, but it's really not super complicated, and it's got a really nice wow factor on the front of your cards. So you just need to fill in the area completely. After a little bit, you can stop squeezing out glue and just kind of spread the glue that's there. It doesn't need to be a super thick coat, but it does need to cover your acetate completely. So you can see how I used my guidelines there to make sure that that was completely filled in. So now I'm going to take my glitter here. And this is another one. I'm using microfine glitter here. You could use a glitter that's just like fine or a little bit chunky, and it will absolutely work. You're just going to get a little bit different look in your final result than I have in my card. So we've got white glue there, glitter on top. We need to set that aside to dry completely. So once it's dry, it's going to be totally transparent, and all you're going to be seeing is glitter. But right now the white that you're seeing is glue. But it's very easy. Once you've started doing this, it's very easy to tell when it's completely dry because it won't be white anymore. So once this is dry, I'll see you in the next video and we will add all the other colors.